Did you know the Vikings were the first Europeans to set foot in North America? The Vikings were a seafaring people who lived in Scandinavia, regions of modern-day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden during the Viking Age, which lasted from the late 8th to the mid-11th centuries. They were known for their raids and explorations, which took them to all parts of Europe and even to North America. The Vikings were skilled shipbuilders and navigators. They used these longships to raid coastal towns and villages in Europe. They would also use their ships to explore new lands, and they established colonies in many parts of the world, including Iceland, Greenland, and North America. The Vikings were also skilled warriors. They were well armed with axes, swords, and spears. They were also fierce fighters and were known for their berserker rage, a state of frenzy in which they would fight without fear or pain. The Viking Age began in the late 8th century, when the Vikings began to raid coastal areas of Europe. They were motivated by a number of factors, including the shortage of land and resources in Scandinavia and a desire for adventure and wealth. The Vikings were very successful raiders, and they quickly became a feared force in Europe. The Vikings' raids were not mere skirmishes. They were brutal campaigns that resulted in the deaths of thousands. Monasteries were vulnerable targets, and the infamous raid on Lindisfarne in 793 AD set the tone for the Viking Age. In Lindisfarne massacre, hundreds of monks and villagers slaughtered during the raid. Vikings targeted over 50 monasteries along the coasts of Ireland, England, and France during the 9th century, amassing vast amounts of wealth. The 9th century invasion of England by the Great Heathen Army, a formidable coalition of Viking forces, marked a pivotal moment in history. Led by the legendary figure Ragnar Lothbrok, the Vikings wrought havoc across the English landscape, reshaping its political and cultural fabric. The invasion began in 865 AD and had far-reaching consequences for England. The Vikings, with their advanced longships and military tactics, struck fear into the hearts of the Anglo-Saxons. The invasion culminated in the capture and eventual death of the East Anglian king, Edmund the Martyr, and the establishment of Viking control over large parts of England. Ragnar Lothbrok became a symbol of the Viking Age's warrior ethos. His leadership and strategic acumen played a crucial role in the success of the Great Heathen Army. Beyond raiding, the Vikings established settlements in various parts of the world. One of the most significant was the establishment of the Danelaw in England, where Viking influence shaped local governance and culture. In 911 AD, the Viking leader Rollo was granted the Duchy of Normandy by the French king, laying the foundation for a powerful dynasty. In the 10th century, the Vikings began to explore new lands. They sailed to Iceland, Greenland, and even North America. The Vikings were the first Europeans to set foot in North America, and they established a colony in Newfoundland. Vikings were also skilled traders and explorers. They ventured as far as the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and even North America. Leif Erikson's expedition to Vinland around 1000 AD predates Columbus's discovery of the Americas by nearly 500 years. Archaeological evidence, including artifacts like silver coins and jewelry, attests to the Vikings' extensive trade networks. The Vikings' belief system, a captivating blend of superstition and divine hierarchy, was governed by an extensive pantheon comprising gods and goddesses, estimated to number in the hundreds. From Thor, the mighty god of thunder wielding his powerful Mjolnir, to Odin, the Allfather presiding over wisdom and war, the Norse deities intricately ruled over every facet of life. Historical records such as the Prose Edda and the Poetic Edda, written in the 13th century, provide detailed insights into their complex mythology. Remarkably, archaeological findings reveal the existence of approximately 3,000 Viking-era graves, which contain evidence of sacrificial rituals. The Vikings were actively participated in human sacrifices during their religious ceremonies. Captive individuals, often prisoners of war or slaves, were selected as sacrificial offerings to appease the gods. The sacrificial ceremonies were conducted in sacred spaces and witnessed by both the clergy and the general populace. The belief was that the gods demanded such sacrifices to ensure prosperity, victory in battle, or protection from malevolent forces. Viking longships were marvels of ancient engineering. designed for both speed and agility. These vessels, with their iconic dragonhead prows, allowed the Vikings to navigate rivers, cross open seas, and even sail into unknown territories. The advanced shipbuilding techniques employed by the Vikings were instrumental in their ability to traverse vast distances. Viking longships ranged from 15 to 75 feet in length, accommodating varied crew sizes for different expeditions. Vikings voyaged thousands of miles, with some expeditions covering up to 3,000 miles from Scandinavia to the Mediterranean. Long before Christopher Columbus, the Vikings, led by Leif Erikson, set foot on North American soil around the year 1000 AD. L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, stands as evidence of their presence, marking them as the first Europeans to explore and settle in North America. The Viking sagas recount Leif Erikson's exploration of Finland, an area believed to encompass parts of modern-day Canada. The Viking settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows is believed to have existed for a brief period, possibly a decade, highlighting the challenges they faced in the New World. The Viking Age, which spanned from the late 8th century to the mid-11th century, concluded with significant and dark events, notably the Norman conquest of England in 1066. Just before this conquest, on September 25, 1066, the Battle of Stamford Bridge unfolded as a tragic episode in Viking history. This devastating conflict resulted in the death of the legendary King Harald Hardrada of Norway, a charismatic and formidable figure among the Norse leaders. The battle itself was a brutal encounter, involving around 15,000 warriors, highlighting the scale of the Viking military engagements. The fallout from these events, combined with broader shifts in political landscapes, cultural assimilation, and the rapid spread of Christianity, played a crucial role in the decline of Viking activities. The Norman conquest marked a turning point, with William the Conqueror seizing the English throne on October 14, 1066, at the Battle of Hastings. This conquest ushered in a new era for England and contributed to the decline of Viking influence in the region. The Battle of Stamford Bridge stands as a poignant moment, underscoring the toll of military conflicts on the Vikings. The loss of King Harald Hardrada, who fell in battle at the age of 51, was a profound blow to the Norse leadership. These dark events, combined with the evolving socio-cultural and religious landscape, marked the end of an era characterized by raiding, exploration, and cultural exchange. The Vikings' cultural practices were marked by shocking brutality. One such gruesome ritual, known as the blood eagle. This horrific form of execution involved opening a victim's ribcage to resemble wings, creating an image reminiscent of an eagle in flight. Historical accounts suggest that this ritual was reserved for individuals of high status or those deemed enemies, adding a chilling layer to the Vikings' reputation for ferocity in battle. The Viking Age ended in the mid-11th century, when the Vikings were defeated by a number of European kingdoms. The Vikings were also weakened by the spread of Christianity in Scandinavia. The Vikings, with their complex blend of exploration, raiding, and cultural practices, represent a fascinating and dark chapter in human history. Their legacy, woven with shocking incidents and awe-inspiring achievements, continues to captivate the imagination and serves as a testament to the complexities of the past. The Vikings were more than mere raiders. They were a dynamic and multifaceted people whose actions reverberate through time.